I don't think you can get rich by renting out your time. Let me tell you a quick story about how I realized this. So, when I was in high school, I worked a few different part time jobs. And out of those jobs, the one that was paying me the most was math tutoring to high school kids. And at the time, I was charging like $50 an hour. And as I got older, I naturally was able to start charging a little bit more to like around $70 an hour or so. And then when I was in university, I was looking at different corporate jobs to apply to. And I was looking at the salaries that you get paid. And I live in Australia, and so the median salary you get is roughly $50,000. And so if you do some quick math, let's say you work 9 to 5 for 5 days a week, and for 50 weeks in a year, you get 2 weeks off. Then you're working 2,000 hours in a year. So that comes down to $25 an hour. And just for argument's sake, let's say you have an even more lucrative job. Let's say you get paid a salary of 100 grand, which I would say is a pretty good salary. But even then, that's still an hourly rate of just $50. So at the time when I was thinking about this, compared to my tutoring job, I was getting paid $70 to $80 an hour. I was like, I don't know if I want to apply to any of these corporate jobs. It's not worth my time, literally. So for a year or two, I just ramped up my tutoring and filled up my entire calendar. And not even just working Monday to Friday, I worked Monday to Sunday, filled up my entire schedule. And at this point in time, I was charging like $80 to $100. It's like, this is my main thing. And so I thought I was making bank, which I guess I kind of was. But then it hit me. I got to a point where, there are a lot of high school students out there that I never had a problem finding a new student to teach. But what I did have a problem with was I couldn't find an extra hour to teach. So I filled up my entire calendar. And I didn't have any more hours in my week to give up. So even if my hourly rate was super high, I realized that there's a ceiling to this. So it doesn't matter how hard you work or how high my hourly rate was, there was some cap. And on top of that, if I go on a holiday or if I want to take some time off to do some other things, then I wasn't going to get paid, because this type of labor is trading time for money. Same thing for a corporate job. You're just trading time for money. And this is when I knew that renting out your time is never actually going to get you rich. At the end of the day, most people want money so that they can have more freedom and more time. And this is when I shifted gears and I started to think about how I can make money while I'm away or while I'm sleeping, without me having to physically or consciously be there all the time. There are a lot of different ways to approach this, but for me personally, I started to take coding a lot more seriously and, started this YouTube channel and started investing passively, and also looked into things like making online courses and stuff like that. And whatever it was, I was never going to trade my time for money directly anymore. Instead, I'm okay with putting up an initial upfront time and energy to create something once, put it out in the world, and let it make money on its own. So, for example, if I make a piece of software like a game once, then I can put it up on my store, and then from that point on, whether one person buys it or 1,000 people buy it, it doesn't cost me any more time and energy to make that thing. So I don't need to recreate it for 1,000 more people. It's the same thing for like online courses. If I kind of going back to the tutoring thing, if I had 1,000 students, I don't have to anymore teach 1,000 kids physically. Instead, I can just record one lesson once, and it doesn't matter if 1,000 kids watch it or 1,000,000 people watch it. It only took me one time to create that lesson. And so, one way to think about it is I'd prefer to have a bit of a fixed cost at the beginning, to invest my time and energy to create it, and have zero marginal cost. So it doesn't matter how many more people watch it. You can just continually compound onto it, which is completely the opposite thing from when I was tutoring. It's like not much of a fixed cost, but very high marginal cost. Every extra kid that comes in through the door, I have to be there to tutor them. And so, it's the same thing with like YouTube videos. I feel like you make one video and then over time people watch it and then it just continues to make money by itself. And then you look back at some video you made one time 6 months ago and it's like, oh, it's like still making money. It's almost like a seed that you plant on the ground. And this idea of compound growth is also why a lot of people do investing, right? Like passive investing. So, like with all that being said, of course, there are situations in your life when you might want to get paid hourly, or you want to get a salary by renting out your time at a corporate job, maybe for like the exposure, the experience, maybe just for the immediate income, whatever it may be. Everyone's situation is different, but to me, it doesn't seem like a long-term sustainable way to create wealth, just by renting out your time. But yeah, that's my rant. Let me know what you think. All right, peace.